Marty deliver the introduction.
For your next match of the evening, ladies and gentlemen, this is for the world's heavyweight title. 2 out of 3 falls, 60-minute time limit. The challenger, wearing red trunks, weighing in at 242 pounds, from Atlanta, Georgia, the Southwest heavyweight champion, Dick Slater. Wearing white trunks, weighing in at 250 pounds, from Beverly Hills, California, the world's heavyweight champion, Nick Bockwinkel.
Yes, for the world's heavyweight title and that huge belt, which the AWA recognizes, worldwide champion Nick Bockwinkel just returned from defending his championship in Europe, defeated the European champion in Bremen, Germany, and feels pretty good about that. Mixture of Greco-Roman and catch-as-catch-can wrestling. Dick Slater, the champion of the Southwest, and we have this battle now looming as a solid test of both men. Now, the thing to remember about this bout is that the man who wins this bout will be the world's champion and will defend his title on May 14th in the Sam Houston Coliseum against Junkyard Dog, one of the toughest and most colorful contenders in the wrestling game. And there's a hammerlock. He went about it the long way around, and he come up with it the hard way and was able to get that arm solidly up behind the back. Man on his face is Nick Bockwinkel, and in behind him, also prone position, is Dick Slater. Notice how Slater moved up there to capture that arm. And now, with a hammerlock and with that arm captured, he is moving in to try to pin, but Nick come up there with that powerful neck of his into a bridge, and Dick Slater bounced on his middle, and oh, champion, yes, perhaps, but he didn't feel like a champion when he just had the wind in the guts knocked out of him that time. And Bockwinkel decides that outside the ring is a good place to be, and the crowd is hollering for Slater to let him have it. What a smash that was, I'll tell you. Just drove all the air out of Bockwinkel and gave Slater his best advantage of the night in a match that has just gone for a very few minutes. No falls as yet, and the test right now is one of strength as they lock hands, and this is a favorite hold of wrestlers who want to be able to prove that not only are they smarter than their opponent and more agile, but they are stronger. In this case, Dick Slater used that headbutt and used it to great advantage. And underneath, a fighting effort of the champion to avoid being defeated in this first fall of this battle. So Nick Bockwinkel, who has been known to hang on to his title with a combination of skill and luck and a willingness to run when the going got tough. He says that is the only way you can remain champion. Because if you block the runs, you also put a guy into problem territory. Head scissor for Dick Slater. Now you keep in mind that our wrestling will be on Friday, May 14th. A stupendous card, the greatest wrestling card ever. And I've been in wrestling 50 years. To put together a card like this as a crowning achievement of 50 years. And that's the way it's going to be on May 14th. Drops him. Oh, man. He come in there. There's a one. There's two. And Dick Slater from underneath starts to squirm and to push and to lift him. He's got him wrapped up in a small package, but you've got to hold him in a small package. And a dive by Bockwinkel, and they're going for the pin, but neither one of them was able to make it, and we almost had Bockwinkel in our lap, and that is not exactly my preference. Nick Bockwinkel, rugged, yes. His father was same type, a man who knew his wrestling well and stayed in top condition, wrestled all the big names. Nick's father, Warren, lost his ear in a wrestling match one night and fortunately was rushed to the hospital, and they performed surgery and sewed it back on again. We're talking about 40 years ago when this happened, and the art of sewing limbs and other things back on wasn't quite as advanced as it was.
5 minutes into the match.
But he saved his ear and still has it on his head. Side headlock for Bockwinkel. Here he comes at you. Solid smash. And Dick Slater, who is a hot favorite with the fans, came in there for a leg scissor. He comes up with that bar toe hold, and he's got a good one. Bockwinkel maneuvering around, trying his best now to get a solid grip that can get him out of trouble. And the reverse face lock is about to do it. The trouble with a hold like that is that you pull at a man's face with that big forearm like Nick Bockwinkel is doing. He hangs onto a foot, and it's just who has the gall to hang on the longest. In this case, it was Bockwinkel, and Slater recognizes another opportunity. Slater is a sharpshooter with those headbutts and those slashes. And there's another one. He upended him for fair. Top, Dick Slater. Side headlock, front headlock rather. Dick Slater leans in there and hangs on to it. Referee Jack Howell moving around, watching each change of the holds to make sure that when it does change, it maintains its legality, meaning that it shouldn't turn into a chokehold. Ooh, that driving shoulder. You hold on to those ropes, you pull him, you drive him in there. There's no place to go because he's up against the turnbuckle. And a solid smashing. And Bockwinkel did something very uncharacteristic of a thinking champion. He rushed in there and missed his target. And as Slater senses the opportunity, you see him now trying to kick that shoulder often enough, hard enough to register on Bockwinkel. He's going for the pile driver, and he can't get him up. Back body drop. Bockwinkel on top. There's one, there's two, but he couldn't hold him. There's that front headlock again. And again, he goes for the lift. And Slater blocks him by leaning down. One thing is certain, no matter who wins this match, no matter who wins this, walks out of the ring with his title and the belt for the AWA superiority, Junkyard Dog is going to give him a battle of his life on Friday, May the 14th. Of that we are certain. No matter where you watch this program, may we tell you that if you're coming to Houston, make that weekend time that you do come, and you'll be glad you did. On bar, Slater doing the holding. And Bockwinkel, as he turns into him, tries to protect the elbow, because that's the danger of an arm bar, is that it's going to get the part of the arm that bends and work against it. And Bockwinkel, as he moves in, looks for something to grab and finds it. Smash. He caught him coming in and laid that fist. His fist disappeared into Dick Slater's middle. And there's another one, this time by Slater. And Slater knows how to make a fist disappear too. And he bounces on him and tries, but didn't make it. He tried to pin him, and he put a stop to Nick Bockwinkel's getaway plans, believe me. Hammerlock. That was the opening hold of this match, was the hammerlock. Slater knows a good hold when he sees it. And he also knows that Bockwinkel is susceptible to it. 10 minutes have gone by. This is the first fall. Hammerlock, and Bockwinkel may be forced to capitulate. The referee's asking him. He's saying no, but as the hold is applied, Bockwinkel may have to change his mind. Nick is nose down in that canvas, and this is the kind of a hold makes you think very, very carefully about giving in. The crowd trying to encourage Slater. They're crying. They're telling him to break it off and hit him with a bloody end. They are screaming for him to break it. They want Dick Slater to win this match, whether they want him to wrestle Junkyard Dog or not. They want him to beat Nick Bockwinkel. So Nick is in trouble. He uses his foot underneath that arm to hold it and pull it and jerk at it. And he gets a long free fall as he does it. And Bockwinkel trying now to emphasize the fact that he is not giving up. As Bockwinkel said, I didn't become champion by giving up, and I didn't become champion to give up. So he may change his mind. Lots of times it's better to sacrifice one fall and live the fight again than it is to be injured in a fall as he could be right now. Slater has that arm wrapped up in a scissor. You see him putting that extra added pressure on there. Oh, the drive that he gets with that grip. And as Bockwinkel squirms around, he's looking for some, there he is, that's what he's looking for. Get that foot out of the rope. The referee says there's enough of him out of the rope, and I'll tell you, that'll raise a Charlie horse on your arm and any muscle it hits. So Bockwinkel is fighting with the arm that hasn't been held in a hammerlock. And as he starts swinging, he was finding fertile territory. He drove Slater's head into the canvas, but Slater doesn't seem to mind. Cue ball. Found it. In there with that same drive, and Nick Bockwinkel is off on the solid, cold concrete. And Slater is ready for another driving move. He caught him. A carom shot, and as the referee tries to get Slater out of the way, here's Slater moving outside. He wants the champion back into the ring. No, he wants him to give him an atomic drop. He did. Bockwinkel is on the floor. The second hovering over him. The referee now getting ready to make that count, and here is Nick getting ready to try to get back up in that ring, but he could step into a hornet's nest right now and lose this first fall. And believe me, the first fall is an important one in any match, most important in a championship match. So Bockwinkel is down, and Slater takes him into the ring, sets him up, and oh, what a hard smash that was. A hard driving head-on smash. And Slater recovers first. Bockwinkel has not yet recovered and meets another head-on butt. The crotch hold, the lift, the slam, and here is Slater looking to drop in on him. Well, he was going to drop in on him with his knee. It didn't work out that way. Slater landed solidly on the canvas, and there's the foot. 15-minute mark, and Bockwinkel steps in, figure four leg lock, and pours it to him. He pours down on this leg-breaking hold, a figure four leg lock. It's a tough hold to get out of. Many people say it's impossible. Others say there is no hold that can't be broken. This is the kind of a hold that's broken best by not getting into it. And Nick puts the pressure on, pours it to him. Listen to the fans, listen to that noise, listen to that enthusiasm for Dick Slater as they scream in his favor. Try to get him to move out, and he made the ropes. And outside, Bockwinkel pursues the opportunity to injure that knee. For leg lock in itself is a great way to injure a knee, but he followed it up. So outside we've got Bockwinkel using that rope snap. He's top man. There it is.
And the winner, ladies and gentlemen, in 15 minutes, 16 seconds for the first fall, Nick Bockwinkel.
The first fall goes to Nick Bockwinkel, AWA World's Heavyweight Champion.
15. 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And there's the bell as the countdown proceeded, and Bockwinkel gets after that leg, determined to follow up on it. He knows that his best chance of winning lies right in that leg, and he is kicked off. Slater is hurt, but Slater is fighting, and Slater wants time to get that leg functioning again, and he got a couple of beautiful blows in there that ought to spell time as far as he's concerned. Slater smells that title, but he is a fall behind, and he is hurt in the leg. He's going to have to do something about it. He has got to turn the tide of this match, and there goes Bockwinkel. He landed squarely off on that concrete, and there's Slater trying to follow him and to do something about it. Dick Slater, and he pounded him unmercifully with that leg. Oh! Bockwinkel knew he was caught in it. There's that diving fall-away headbutt that he uses so well, and this could be the answer. A limping Dick Slater comes in to lay that hold in there again. There's a foot over the rope. The referee is tolling the count for Nick Bockwinkel. And as Slater moves in, he's going for a cartwheel slam, and he manages to make use of it. Dick Slater using the hold that Bockwinkel used on him. And this, of course, is the hold that Slater learned so well from Terry Funk and Dory Funk. He pours it in there hard, tight. The option goes to the champion. He knows how that hold feels. He knows that he has used it. He knows that he has not very many moments to stay in that thing before he makes up his mind. Otherwise, it will be made up for him. And he will not be using that leg again. It's Bockwinkel lets pride take its own gathering. And here is Slater trying now to slam into Bockwinkel, and he's giving him a taste of his own medicine. And this crowd here is solidly in favor of the tactics that he's using. Solidly. And the Slater comes in. He climbs that rope. It's the driving elbow to the head. There's one, there's two, there's three, and falls are even.
And the winner, ladies and gentlemen, of the second fall in 3 minutes, Dick Slater.
So Dick Slater takes this fall, which means
1 minute rest period.
That when we come back, we'll have the third and deciding fall. The man who wins that will be the world's heavyweight champion.
5 seconds.
5
4,
seconds.
3, 2, 1, bell.
And Bockwinkel never did get up to his feet, but he got down pretty fast too, I'll tell you. And he is getting a tremendous kicking and mauling as he goes now for the pile driver and came down. And Nick Bockwinkel is going to, well, I was going to say he's going to be losing his title to the hold, the pile driver, but as he gets off on the floor, he is looking for that respite, and Dick Slater pounces on top of him, and here comes Dick back in the ring. Bockwinkel outside. Here he comes. This match reaching a climax here. The lift and the drop, and oh man, Slater on top. There's one, there's two, and Bockwinkel manages to bounce out of the trouble. Slater with confidence moves in again. A backbreaker? No, he dropped him on his side. Tried to be a rib breaker, and Bockwinkel is taken out. He goes now for the twisting toe hold, spinning toe hold, and as Slater tried to hang on, he was pounded across the head with telling and effective blows. The Slater moves in, and down goes referee Jack Howell. He smashed into him and smashed into him hard. Bockwinkel. No, it's in behind. It's a small package as Slater rolls him up there, and as Bockwinkel comes out from underneath. There's two, there's three. So it was two on Bockwinkel, but there
and the winner,
was a
ladies and
quick
gentlemen,
exchange.
1 minute and 53
And
seconds
the
for
winner
the third fall, and still
is Nick
the
Bockwinkel,
world's
still
heavyweight
champion,
Nick
and
Bockwinkel.
the belt goes to him, and he will defend it against Junkyard Dog on May 14th. And Slater is upset, and Slater is angry and hauls off to knock him, kick him. And that does not change the verdict. The verdict is still the winner, Nick Bockwinkel. Up in the ring, Boyd Pierce is ready to introduce this event to you, so we'll spring up there and pick him up.
This event, 2 out of 3 fall, 45-minute time limit. In the white corner, James J. Dillon presents the world's strongest man at 300 pounds, Ken Patera. 220 pounds from the Fiji Island in the white corner, we welcome back to Houston, popular Jimmy Snuka. Your referee, Danny McShane.
So, Jimmy Snuka, the Fijian flyer, a guy who can whiz around through the air in great fashion, and who is is the man that you see leaping off the top rope every time you see Houston wrestling on Channel 39. You see him on the opening of our program as he whips through the air and lands on his opponent. He hopes to be able to do that to Ken Patera here tonight. Jimmy Snuka, born in Fiji, raised in the Solomon Islands, and then later to Hawaii, where he became interested in bodybuilding, and now a name to be reckoned with in the professional wrestling field. The noise you hear in the background is he coming from people as Ken Patera tries to divest himself of his magnificent brocaded wrestling pants. Well, he finally managed to get partly through the operation that time. This match now for 2 out of 3 falls, and Ken Patera, the world's strongest man. But I want to tell you, when it comes to strength, Jimmy Snuka is not exactly deficient. Those muscles that he has were started with the simple things in life, like rowing an outrigger, fishing, climbing coconut trees, and in games of skill with the other people in his village. He is no stranger to athletic action of all kinds, and you can tell from the size of his arms, which match those of Patera, who is the first man in this country to lift 500 pounds over his head in competition. Why, you know that he had to take a lot of work to get those arms in that shape. So Patera eyes Jimmy Snuka, and Snuka is up there and ready to match him. Patera is tough. He's got his manager, James J. Dillon, in the corner, and here we have the spectacle of two guys who are trying to outdo each other in the infighting, in the business of getting close and using the referee's hold and jerking a man around. Here comes Patera. Snuka trying to outbalance him. Look at the way that guy can jump. Tremendous. And he get him with a cross body block. There's 1, 2, and Jimmy Snuka reverting to the tribal instincts, and there comes Dillon racing around to give advice to Ken Patera. So Snuka flew through the air that time and found his target and really brought this crowd up to its feet. There's Jimmy. Now, this is Jimmy's first appearance in Texas in about 2 years right now, and he has hit the high spots. He has wrestled up and down the East Coast and made a tremendous hit. Patera, he tries to keep from being shown up by the strength of Snuka because he features strength and is proud of it. Look at the leap of that man. I'll be doggone. And Jimmy Snuka with a classic pose comes around to slam into Ken Patera. So Dillon out there commiserates with his strongman and calls for timeout. I don't think he's going to find timeout waiting for him here. Listen to these fans here as they suddenly turn the Coliseum into a place of uproar to back Jimmy Snuka. And Snuka now has learned to move with measured tread, and yet when he slips out of that studied pace, he suddenly becomes a speed demon, and that's what counts. It isn't how fast you move between holds, it's how fast you move when you're applying them. Snuka now with the side headlock. And he grabs the blonde head of Patera to do something with it, and Snuka is hanging on well. Look at the size of that arm. And Patera, who threw Snuka far and wide, was bragging about it that time when he was suddenly struck. Jimmy landed on his feet. Beautiful move by Snuka. Well balanced. So hanging on with the side headlock is Snuka. And Jimmy puts Ken Patera in problem territory as Dillon moves up and down now with that worried look on his face and scratching his head, thinking he's going to find the answer to it. So Patera, strength and all, is in trouble as that big arm keeps putting the squeeze to his head. Enough of those and you can hear the bees buzz. Now you see him jerking that head around and jerking that arm around in good fashion. He's got an arm that fits around there perfectly without any wasted effort. And there goes Snuka. And he takes him over beautifully. And this crowd here lets them know it. They're Snuka fans, and they always have been. During the time that he's been away from Texas, and in spite of the fact that he has been doing so very well on the East Coast, fans have been asking for him to come back here where he made a great hit and where he is making a great hit again. And again, he comes with that edge of the hand blow and applies it nicely. Snuka. Good, solid side headlock. Dillon, every time that arm goes whipping around the head, he has a tizzy over there, just trying to figure out what sort of advice he can give Ken Patera that's going to keep him out of trouble. Patera now trying to put a bear hug in there. He's trying to get that spot just underneath the ribs and between the ribs and the hip, and to cinch in on it if he possibly can. He was over to the side that time, but now he's lost that advantage, and he is expecting the hold to be broken by the referee. He timed it right. He was ready immediately. Ken Patera laying in that big fist of his, and big fist is what he's got. And Patera moves in solidly, clamps down on top of Snuka's head, pushes his throat against that rope, and uses the rope to strangle him. So Snuka's having his problems. Close up of the action as Patera that time got in there with that driving knee of his against Jimmy Snuka's ear. And now the Fijian's in trouble because prolonged punishment of the type that a man as strong as Patera can deliver can only blast you apart and upset all your intentions. And Jimmy Snuka got a delay that time, but here goes Patera for a back body drop, and oh, man. On top is Patera, and there's enough strength left in Snuka for him to work his way out from underneath. Reverse chin lock. Snuka hangs on. Snuka's got the head. Snuka's got those powerful arms of his up in close, and he can look at the size of the forearms with relation to the size of Snuka's head, and you get some idea what we're talking about. Patera is a hard-working athlete, a man who trains constantly. 10 minutes have gone by. This is a 2 out of 3 fall match. There have been no falls as yet. We saw the hair pulling, but the referee was at a different angle, and he was unable to see it. And of course, that's what Patera was trying to do, is create that sort of a situation. Reverse chin lock. And Snuka's in trouble, but he was in trouble before, and he has managed to survive it. So as the hold starts to take its effect, Danny McShane checks that arm. If the arm had fallen again, he would have stopped the fall right there and given it to Patera. But Snuka straightened out that arm to let him know that there was still consciousness and still plenty of strength left. And Patera tries to fight off the efforts of Snuka to give him trouble. There's the escape, and here's Patera going for a tackle, but it didn't. Oh, look at the way that man can run. Oh. He bounced in there and came down, and now we've got Ken Patera going for a dive, and dive it is with a rabbit punch at the end, and Jimmy Snuka's now going to face his toughest decision. If he can get out of it, he will. No, he did not stay in it. He got out of it. And Dillon on the outside looks disgusted, almost as much as to say, how much does it take to get this man to quit? And I'll tell you, any normal individual would have quit just about that point and have quit with honor. Snuka. He's throwing forearm blows. He's throwing edge of the hand blows tonight, and he's throwing wallops with his fist, which is quite a varied assortment. And now the tide is turning, but he hit him with a beautiful reverse chop that time, and you can see what happened to Patera. He hit him in the head, but he landed with a thud on his brain that time, and it stunned him. Snuka into the ropes, and this time it's Snuka who hits, and hits hard. And again, he comes with that body block, but it's Patera on top, and Patera and McShane got the count that time. Holy cow. Jimmy Snuka hit Patera high. They rolled completely over. They came down, and Snuka was underneath. Patera's legs were high up in the air on the ropes. The referee dove for the shoulders and was concentrating on counting the shoulders down, and that prevented him from seeing it. He is not getting any straight answers from Jimmy Dillon. You can bet your boots on that. And Dillon is trying to talk his way out of it. So we'll be back here in a moment. Right now, we pause for this word from the studio. Now the second fall starts, and the crowd has not yet stopped hollering about the first fall. And Jimmy Snuka now is more aware of what happened to him than ever. He has started after the world's strongest man, Ken Patera. But when you start following Ken, you've got to be careful. He's strong from his head to his toes. But look at Jimmy Snuka now as he comes in with his best weapons, and that's one of them. That driving, crashing wallop with the head. Patera into the ropes above us, and oh, how he landed. What a crashing fall. And Snuka slams him down and looks for the opportunity to dive head first into Ken Patera. And there's Snuka. He's looking around at that crowd, and they're screaming for him to give Ken Patera another one. He does, and much in the same fashion with that wild driving headbutt of his. McShane got a 2 count that time, but not a 3 count, and that's what the crowd's looking for. It's Patera being lifted by the Fijian, Jimmy Snuka, and Patera caught a beauty that time. Right smack between the eyes. Snuka trying now to use that rope as in the same manner that Patera used it in the first fall, and that is to use it to choke. Man down, Patera, this could be a fall, but there goes a foot over the rope. And this time, Patera's foot on the rope saves him again. Before, it actually gave him a fall. And now, as he gets that foot up there, it keeps him from being pinned and losing a fall. So Ken Patera gets an opportunity in behind. He's going for the full Nelson. This is the hold that he has used with devastating effectiveness here, and a hold that is capable of breaking a man's neck. Patera knows it, so does Snuka. Snuka has a powerful neck, but I'll tell you, it's difficult under ordinary circumstances, to fight off a full Nelson, much less to fight it off when it's being applied by the world's strongest man. So McShane looks, but the hold is legal, and Snuka's head is going down on his chest. The crowd now screaming to Jimmy Snuka, trying to encourage him to manipulate his way out of this hold if he can't actually strong arm his way out. He got out of it, but whether it cost him to get out of it also remains to be seen. Patera going, well, I was going to say he would move in to follow up with that hold again if he could. Crotch lift and slam, and here comes Patera. Look, he looked for it, but he didn't find it. He was looking to chop his head off, and it didn't quite work out that way. Snuka stepping in to do the belting. And he swung around there with a hard driving foot. Yes, barefooted. But I'll tell you, those feet of his are just as solid as if he was wearing army boots. And again comes Snuka. And now Snuka has come to life. And here he is with the slap dance and maneuvering in there to show these fans what he means. Oh. He went flying through the air that time, and Patera just drew those knees up in self-defense. And here's the fall. There's one, there's two, and Danny McShane spotted the foot on the rope this time, and there is no fall. There is no fall, and here is Snuka going flying. There goes Jim Dillon. We got a fall. We've got a fall as Jimmy Snuka wraps him up in a small package and puts him down onto that canvas and keeps him there. Jimmy Snuka. As equalized falls, Jimmy Dillon is still belly aching about what has happened. And Ken Patera has lost this fall to Jimmy Snuka, the flying Fijian. The final fall, the third and final fall. Patera took the first one. Snuka is still exulting for having equalized things, and the fans have exulted with him during this brief intermission between falls. And now, with the world's strongest man facing a man who has proven that he can put his shoulders down to that canvas, why, this is the all-important one. Patera, and he's got a solid arm. I'll tell you, when he hits you there with that well-muscled arm, it's like slamming you with a 2x4. Patera now trying to wear Snuka down. Snuka looking for the opening, finding it. He's going for the knee drop, and he hits that atomic drop, and down goes Ken Patera. Here is Snuka stepping in for the equalizer as he starts pounding away. He's got the stuff. He got ripped across the face that time by Ken Patera. Patera came across there with the forearm, the wrist, and the fingers of his hand in the direction of the eyes, and he ripped it right across there. This could be it. On top is Ken Patera, but you got to stay there. When you can stay there and that count comes to 3, you're with it. Bear hug. Patera putting it on Jimmy Snuka, laying it in there. Patera now, as he comes around from the side, he tries to get that bear hug so that he's underneath the ribs of Snuka, and Snuka is shaking that head of his and saying no, he's not going to quit, because Danny McShane is popping the question to him. And when you say bear hug, you got a man that's built like a bear applying that hold. Notice how he shortens those arms, reaches up his own arm to grab himself above the wrist and to pull that arm in there close and tight. And this time Snuka gave Patera a taste of his own medicine. Flying mare, and on top is Jimmy Snuka. And again, when he shoots that head forward, he doesn't miss. Patera looking now to, whoa, and as Patera come in, over the top they go, and a hard fall. They both went over that top rope, and that is a difficult way to land. Neither man had control over his own fate that time as he came by, and Dillon is trying to push Patera in there, but Patera hasn't made it yet. And Snuka starts after James J. Dillon and has him on the floor, and we've got the action swelling to the outside of the ring as Snuka goes after him. And here is Patera, who is doing the chasing, and the action continues long and hard against both of them. The bell has sounded, and Ken Patera got back into the ring, and I haven't heard an announcement from the
4 minutes, 45 seconds. Both men counted out.
And it's both men counted outside the ring, and Irish Danny McShane calls this match a draw. Patera got back in the ring first, but the fact that he got into the ring first is not evidence of winning. He was not in before the count of 20. We'll be back here in a moment. We'll have more action for you after we have this word from the studio. Up in the ring, we're ready with this next event, and Boyd Pierce is ready to bring it to you. So let's swing up there and pick him up.
Your first semifinal of the evening, 2 out of 3 falls, 45-minute time limit. In the blue corner, Playboy Gary Hart presents from Singapore, 270 pounds, the spoiler. 230 pounds across the ring in the red corner from Oklahoma, former heavyweight champion of the world, Jack Briscoe. Your referee, Bronco Lubitsch.
So Jack Briscoe, former world's heavyweight champion, steps in against the spoiler, a man who is a top challenger in any area in the country. Briscoe and Spoiler have both challenged the winner of our final event of the night here at the Sam Houston Coliseum, and they're both logical people to be facing the winner of any title match. Briscoe won the world's heavyweight title here in July of 1973. He beat Harley Race, and he wants another chance at whoever holds the title. As this match is being wrestled, the champion is Harley Race. You see the spoiler, a 270-pounder, rated as the best masked man in the business, and most certainly a guy who has plenty of weight, power, and wrestling ability, but never sells Jack Briscoe short. Briscoe has wrestled literally all of his life. He came up through the great scholastic wrestling wars of Oklahoma. He was never defeated in grammar school and junior high and high school and college. He won the nationals. He won all the honors there were to win as an amateur, and then won all the honors there were to win as a professional when he beat Harley Race here in 1973. Briscoe, however, lost the title to Terry Funk. And for a while, he literally pulled in his horns and sulked about it and didn't really go hot after the return match. But he is on the trail now of another effort to win that world title. Trying the reverse face lock, just going to lose it though. You can just see his fingers just barely making it, but he's hanging on because it is easing some of the pressure in the side headlock, but he didn't make it. If he had been able to get the wrestler's grip with his fingers and hold it securely, he would have been able to force Spoiler into a bad effort. So Briscoe tried to destroy Spoiler's balance. You saw what Spoiler did, and remember, Spoiler is managed by Gary Hart. That in itself should tell you something, but Spoiler, unlike many of the people whom Hart has managed, does not depend on Gary Hart when he steps in that ring. Hart does less physically. There you saw him steadying the bottom rope. But Hart does less physically to reinforce Spoiler than he does for any man he has ever managed. I think Spoiler sometimes resents Hart's intrusion into a match because he feels that it'll give people the feeling that perhaps he can't take care of himself. And he's taking care of himself well now. He has a well-applied side headlock. He is turning it into a sleep hold effect. But now as he gets down on his upper thigh, he is pushing the throat of Jack Briscoe down tight against that thigh and trying to put him out. And he may be doing it. And it's a trick that you can cover up. It's a trick that works. And right now, it's a trick that Jack Briscoe is feeling to the limit. Briscoe going after a Japanese arm lock as a reversal. He has managed to come out of the side headlock, and as Lubitsch went around on the far side, he may not have seen it. I don't know if he saw it. But it's still the Spoiler's edge as he moves in there to try to make it stick. There's that rotating movement of Spoiler with that big arm of his. You notice how he shortens it up. He grabs himself way just above the wrist in order to get that arm in there tight. If he was just clenching his hands with those long arms of his, he would have to be using more strength than leverage. The shortening of the arms helps the leverage, and Briscoe's in trouble. Properly used, a hold like this can be a potent weapon, and I've yet to see Spoiler use an improperly used hold. And he knows how to do that too. A tough style. Jack's head's caught solidly. He is in maneuvers and tries to get that head out of there. 5 minutes have gone by. This is the first fall. Spoiler has had the advantage. Spoiler is the guy who has gotten in there and snatched that hold. You see the musculature on the body of Jack Briscoe. He is not a weightlifter. He is a man who got all of his exercise, all of his body development, and all of his muscles sheerly through wrestling. Lots of wrestlers use the weights because they maintain strength and get a change of exercise. Wrestling is a tough way to constantly roll on that mat and go after your conditioning. So you can get sick of it and tired of it. So you try to mix it up, but Briscoe he likes it. You see him right now finding the exposed side of the Spoiler, and as he drops in there with that knee, he is doing more than just escaping from a headlock. He is preparing the Spoiler for trouble. Reverse chin lock. He keeps his weight in the small of the back. He heists up on the masked chin and pours it to him. So Jack Briscoe swings things around and becomes the master of this particular situation. Jim Caldwell, who takes pictures for some of the national wrestling publications. here to my left, and he's the fellow you saw with the camera up in your picture. And missed that shot of the spoiler being pushed into the turnbuckle because he had to change film, just like you and I. So Briscoe's side headlock has suddenly turned against him. He's still got it, but he was jerked off balance and literally standing on his shoulders at that time. He bears down on it. And Spoiler trying to get his head out of trouble. There he is again, standing Briscoe on his shoulders, but he's got a hand on the trunks to do it. And this keeps the weight of Briscoe shifted around, and Gary Hart intrudes to tell referee Bronco Lubitsch that he should have counted Briscoe down. Hart made a committee of one that time because the crowd here did not agree with his assessment of what was happening. And Spoiler comes out. He goes after the grip on the throat. That's where that right hand is, underneath the chin and up against the throat. And he pours it to him.
What's the count, Spoiler?
And Briscoe down. You see why he's down, and you see why he's staying there. That 270 pounds that stacks up on that foot is pressing him down right on the bite by the throat. Outside, Briscoe. And the Spoiler showing here why he's rated as the #1 masked man in the game. And here he is with his favorite method of flying at people. He'll go off that rope onto the floor if he feels like there's an advantage to it. He'll also do it in the ring. He's watching for Jack Briscoe to return to the ring, and Briscoe was watching him too. That's why Briscoe became world champion, because he watched out for things like that. Briscoe's a southpaw, a left-hander, as he moves in on Spoiler. We had 2 left-handed champions in a row when Jack Briscoe lost to Terry Funk. Funk, too, is a left-hander. Reverse chinlock. Briscoe now manages to get into position, and I think Gary Hart was more responsible for Spoiler getting out of that hold just by shifting that foot out there and causing the relaxation of it by Briscoe. Found him underneath and laid it in there. Spoiler stretching a point because Lubitsch, with his count there, is going to reach the 5 if he... There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. And Spoiler is alert, watching, stretching a point in order to be able to punish Briscoe. He may not have too many opportunities to punish him. And again, oh, man. 270 pounds, and he dropped there with that rope hitting him just underneath the chin, up against the throat. There he squats like some giant vulture ready to spring and drop, and spring and drop he did. And Briscoe's in trouble. Here goes the fall. There's one. Wait a minute, he's got him by the trunk. But Briscoe is squirming, keeping those legs moving so that he can get some leverage for a squirm. And he fell with his feet outside the ring. And again, you'll notice the Spoiler stretching the point, arguing with the referee. This is the same thing he was doing just a few moments ago on the opposite side of the ring, hanging on to that top rope, and Briscoe trying to put his foot over the rope to get a break in the count, and Gary Hart tossed it off. But so Jack, either by instinct or because he's smart enough, managed to get it underneath the rope. He's after the claw. He's got the claw, and he may have the fall. And as has happened many times in Spoiler's career, he could have the match if he gets the fall through the use of the claw. He's pleased. He looked over it hard, as much as to say, I did it. And he's got Briscoe sewed up in the claw hold. But for a southpaw, he's throwing a good right as well, and convincing Spoiler he's going to have to let go of that hold. And Briscoe has discovered that if you move when you're in the claw hold, if you fight, if you keep the circulation still going, and here he may have got maybe down. He may lose it right here. There's one. Trying to fight his way up from underneath. There's Briscoe with all the power that's left in him, and he's going to need it. And this time, no left-handed wallop. Well, there's one. He got that foot up there, and I thought he was going to continue, but it takes a lot to be able to get your foot up there with any driving power when you're that close. Down goes Briscoe, and he comes up, and there's the leg breaker. Oh, how nicely done. And he dropped the 270 pounds of Spoiler on the knee that time, and it was perfectly timed. And here is Briscoe going for the leg breaker, his favorite hold. He's got to soften him up first. He's trying to give him some added punishment. But here he goes for the spinning toe hold. He's got the other leg. He had it, but he never was able to cinch down on it. Japanese leg lock. He tries to turn him over. He's got him doubled up with the grip. Spoiler. In a position to quit if he wants to. You notice how heavily bandaged that right hand of his looks, but he wears a glove on that hand. He wears a protection in case he gets sweaty. Keeps him so that he can apply the hold. There's a close-up look at it. Our director, Ed Worthington, moves in close. And Spoiler looks for something to grab. And Hart is distracting the referee. He was standing up there screaming, "Don't give up, Spoiler, don't give up." So right now, the manager on the outside is saying, he can't hurt us. Don't give up. There's Hart doing the shouting to encourage the Spoiler or distract the referee, or at least to accomplish something. And now he's arguing with the referee, and Spoiler took his cue, and he's got the claw hold again. The left hand behind the head, the right hand in front, which should do the damage, but he wasn't able from that particular angle to cinch it on very well. And Briscoe finds that spot to lay in the Charlie horse producer. Here he goes for the leg breaker again. There it goes, he's got it. and Gary Hart recognizes that immediately. I don't hear him shouting not to give up right now. And Spoiler may be forced at this moment to give up on this fall. He has not yet given up, but he has come close to it by dragging the referee into it. And Briscoe leans into that hold. He bends that leg, and Gary Hart just broke that hold with a free foot. And here is Briscoe trying to convince Hart that that's not the way you treat a former world's champion. And he laid that knee in there, and here on top is Spoiler. And Gary Hart on the outside, pushing against the foot, trying to stack him up there. And we're going to have a disqualification on this first fall. Gary Hart, by pushing against the Spoiler's foot, caught a disqualification. And there's the argument now continuing even further.
18 minutes, 12 seconds. The winner of the first ball, Jack Briscoe.
Starts to lay it into Briscoe before there he goes, reaffirming his decision in this first fall. Briscoe's the winner, but referee Bronco Lubitsch is being besieged by both Spoiler and Hart, who are arguing the point here and trying to get him to change his mind. And down goes Gary Hart, and Bronco Lubitsch being wrapped up. We've got a fall. We've got a second fall, and Spoiler here has been pinned in this second fall. And listen to the eruption from this crowd as Gary Hart is wondering what happened. And in a fit of temper and pique at being grabbed by Spoiler and shaking him, Spoiler did himself no good when he laid his grip on the referee. We've got Briscoe now defending him, but I think that Bronco Lubitsch might have disqualified Spoiler for that second fall anyway, but with the interference of Jack Briscoe, who came to his rescue, we've got a winner in straight falls with Jack Briscoe scoring over the Spoiler. Well, the ring is full of people right now, and they're getting ready for this event, and Boyd Pierce knows all about it, so let's pick him up.
This event, 2 out of 3 falls, 1 hour time limit. In the blue corner, at 265 pounds from Austin, Texas, ladies and gentlemen, the living Stardust American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. And across the ring, James J. Dillon presents the world's strongest man, Ken Patera. Your referee, Danny McShane.
So you have Ken Patera, the world's strongest man, facing the great American dream, Dusty Rhodes, one of the most colorful people in the sports world today, and a man who is just known as the American dream no matter where he goes, and he goes to plenty of places. He has flown in for this match. He flew in from Japan to New York's Madison Square Garden, and then down here for this battle. And we have Ken Patera trying to divest himself of those fancy blue pants that he has, and the crowd giving him the wolf whistle that accompanies such a gesture. So Dusty's the blonde with the white boots, and Patera's the blonde with the dark boots. You'll be able to tell them apart from their wrestling style. There is no question about that. Patera may have more muscle, but I want to tell you, nobody beats the spirit of the Big Dust from Austin, Texas. Referee is Irish Danny McShane, and here are two of the top people in wrestling all across the nation. Side headlock for Patera. Patera, a man who competed in the Olympics for the United States of America and would have won a gold medal except for a knee injury, and who has since competed in strongman stunts that have won him the right to be called they want to call him the world's strongest man. We know that he's the strongest guy in wrestling, I can tell you that. Side headlock. And Patera takes over to grab him and to squeeze him. And Patera can put on a mighty, mighty squeeze. He's got a lot of stuff with which to do it, no question about it. And Patera is hollering to Dusty to quit. And Patera is a man with plenty of mouth. He can do his own talking, and he really gives the psychological idea to the man whom he is wrestling. He puts the thought in his mind that he could get out of a squeeze like that just by quitting. Sometimes it works. It has not worked on Dusty. So Patera comes up there to try to cut him apart. The dust suddenly springs to life, and in the background, James J. Dillon was trying to give a signal to Patera, and that signal was come over and listen to. He was just telling him to listen to the advice of the sage on the outside of the ring. And Patera that time decided that outside the ring was a lot better than being where he was. You saw him squirm toward those ropes, and Dusty had the right bit of leverage to snatch him right back in the ring. Arm bar for Dusty as he pounds him down to his knees. And this crowd here is pro Dusty Rhodes, and they are screaming their approval of everything he does, and he's doing well now. He hung right on to that as he tried to use the hip lock, Patera did, but Dusty just hung on in good fashion and still got the hold. McShane gave the option to Patera that time and told him he could quit if he wanted to. You see Patera's doing the turn in there, and that big arm of Patera's pulled up there behind its normal way of going, and Dusty keeps the pressure on. There's the push now back against the ropes. This will be broken by referee Danny McShane, but it's how Patera breaks that is of the utmost interest. Outside, Dillon looks pretty well pleased with himself that he has managed to give Patera the option there. From the outside, he was trying to distract Dusty. And Dusty now with that peculiar stance of his, that double whammy that he likes to deliver, and the wallop to the head that can fell an ox. And in this case, I would say that the word ox was well used, because this boy Patera, with that huge body of his and that ability to put those muscles to good use, is as formidable as an ox. Patera comes from a sports family. His brother Jack Patera, is the head football coach for the Seattle Seahawks, who burned themselves in the memory of the Oilers this year. And there is a front headlock now for Ken Patera, the world's strongest man. And he puts it in there with a lift and a twist. Notice Dusty. He's destroying his balance. He's lifting up that leg, trying to give Patera something to worry about. And that swinging blow is hitting Patera right in the thigh muscle. And that's the way to raise the Charlie horse. So Dusty pounces in. Dusty takes a leg scissor. He's got that leg tied up nicely. He's got his weight in on the upper part of the leg. And Dillon on the outside. Dusty is trying to get Dillon to sit down. Dillon has come clear around the ring here to raise a storm of protest from fans and from Dusty Rhodes. Patera telling somebody off. So it's, oh, he come up there with a hard driving knee into the midsection. Here is a reverse chin lock. And Patera has his own way of applying this. He's got forearms big enough to be able to clamp down on Dusty Rhodes. So Patera puts the big squeeze on. That's all you can call this, is a big squeeze. He's got a good scientific way of doing it. He's got the forearm up against the side of the neck on one side of the head and a little bit higher on the other, but his arm is almost as big as Dusty's head when it gets squeezed up against it. Now the grip has changed. There's a whip to take him down on the canvas. The Dream, Stardust. And this right now, he is fitting right into everything that the fans have to say about him. He loves to use that bionic elbow. This Patera is tough. He is a rugged, solid customer. There's the crotch, the lift, the slam, and it puts Patera into a good position. He's on top for a pin. He didn't get the pin, though. And Patera's trying to set him up. And he got set up himself. Here is the Dusty with the elbow. We could have it. We've got it. We've got it. The first fall goes to
8 minutes, 28 seconds, Dusty Rhodes.
Yes, Dusty Rhodes takes the first fall with a good display of being aware of what was happening. And he is now one fall ahead in spite of Jim Dillon's efforts to confuse the situation. So we tell you that it's one fall for Dusty. There are still another fall or two to come. And we'll be back here for them right after we have this word from the studio. Up in the ring, you see Jim Dillon firmly hidden behind wide-shouldered Ken Patera, and Dusty Rhodes chased him there. Now we count the countdown for the intermission. 5. There's the bell now for the start of fall number 2, and Dusty Rhodes is one fall ahead. And as Dusty moves in, he is moving from a feeling of confidence because he has chalked up that first fall. And here is Dusty with that socking wallop of his, and as he comes out on the floor to take after Patera, he is able to pound away at him and to drive his bionic elbow where it'll do some good. So Patera heads instinctively up to go in the ring, and Dusty aims that elbow again at the world's strongest wrestler. Fans here from Tampa, Florida, screaming to Dusty to let him have it. And he's sounding off about how they have They have cheered for him all over Florida, and he is just as big a sensation in Florida as he is in New York's Madison Square Garden. Here's Patera. He was set up, but Dusty didn't make sure of it before he went into that crashing effort to apply the elbow. Here is Patera, a big man like him going into the whoa, and here, a big man like Patera, who has all that strength to use, does not generally climb ropes and go jumping at targets. In this particular case, he didn't get a chance to jump. He was slow going up on the turnbuckles, and Dusty was fast in taking him off the turnbuckles. In behind Dusty Rhodes. That's a chin lock you see now. And he's able to use the leverage of his forearms, but now he's just getting a straight pull and using his weight up against Patera as part of the hold. There's the call for the break. And Patera did not break. You saw him take that leg and move outside, and slamming it against the ring apron that way is a good way to inflict injury, I'll tell you. So Patera this time is back in that ring in a jiffy. You see him with the leg which he has worked on, and Dusty is in a bad spot right now. Patera working on the knee, and Dusty is being told he can quit if he wants to. The fans starting to beat a rhythmic applause and telling Dusty they're behind him. You hear him pounding on the floor and on the chairs and pounding their hands together, and Dusty is caught up solidly in the fervor of the fans as they try to get him to go to it. They are screaming for him to come out of this and to stay ahead of Patera, to score a fall. So fans hollering for Dusty to give him the elbow, but Dusty's not in a good position to give him an elbow. He can hurt himself if he starts throwing his weight around too indiscriminately and twisting that lower part of his body. So Dusty's behind. Dusty's got a chin lock, and Dusty is pulling up on Patera's head with the hope of making Patera let go of that ankle which he holds in ransom, but he still got it. The move is all Patera. The Big Dust is using his foot to try to pry the hand and arm of the strong man off of his toe, and it may work because Dusty's leg is likely to be stronger than the arm of Ken Patera, and it was, at least temporarily. So Dusty now stays in behind. Patera keeps working on that. He hopes he's going to be able to slow down the Big Dust. And now as Dusty turns him over, he's got him down. He used his own leg. The 5-minute mark has been reached. He used his own leg to turn him, the one that was held, and then he applied a body scissor and had him doubled up. But Patera was able to get out. Now he's in position to give Patera trouble right between the eyes. Patera pounding. Here, rather, Rhodes pounding, and Patera trying to avoid it. Ooh, he hit solidly, and Dusty was all wound up there and couldn't unwind. He had started to throw that. Well, here comes Patera. He's going to try it again, and try it again he did. He's going after the neck. I tell you, he's a great guy for working on somebody's neck. And full Nelson. And he reached, and Dusty Rhodes just took off for the ropes just as fast as he could. There's another effort, full Nelson, and Dusty makes that quick move, that fast move to the ropes. And that's about the only way he can break that thing with a man as strong as Patera is. And if he uses it too long, you are going to be in deadly trouble. There's a bear hug as Patera puts the pressure on it, and this could be it. Fans are screaming for Dusty to belt him, but he's not really in a good position to belt him. He's saying no, and Patera puts the squeeze on, and look at the way those arms stand out on Patera. Just look at the pressure he's putting on there, and the way they can follow those muscles right up his arm. But that is a man he is squeezing, and that man is feeling the pressure of that arm. He caught him right again between the eyes, and there he comes again to bear hug him, and Patera gets the big squeeze, and Dusty is looking now for something he can do to put it down. He may be out. And Patera now, as Dillon is hollering, turn him over. Dillon is trying to give him orders and give orders to Patera. There's one. There is one, and there is two. And Dusty managed to fight his way up, but only to his feet, and Patera bores in. And there it is. He comes in again with a big squeeze, and Dusty's having his problems. There he goes down again. It's not easy to escape from the relentless squeeze of a man as strong as Ken Patera. The bear hug is one of the oldest moves in wrestling, a caveman type hold. This is the way that men wrestled when they knew no holds. They just squeezed the man into submission. That arm stayed up. That means that the Big Dust has something left. Now he's starting to move all of his parts together, and he smacked him. Both forearms clobbered on an ear, and Patera is back again. Rhodes got out. Rhodes is likely to be it. There it is. There is the second fall, and it goes to Ken Patera.
10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, bell.
So the bell starts for fall number 3 as Ken Patera moves in to start clobbering Dusty Rhodes, and Dusty comes to life in a fashion that shows that he, in spite of the harassment he was suffering during the intermission period, he was recovering from the bear hugs that put him down to defeat in the previous fall, in the second fall. Falls are even. This is the third fall. This is the one that counts. And the winner of this match, this fall, is the man who wins the match, as Ken Patera keeps pounding away at Rhodes. And Rhodes watch that Jim Dillon in behind Dusty Rhodes. And here he is hanging on Dusty Rhodes and trying to keep Rhodes from getting back in the ring. And Danny McShane saw it. Danny McShane saw what happened. Danny McShane has disqualified.
Danny McShane awards the match to Dusty Rhodes.
Dusty Rhodes was being held on the outside. Dillon was hoping he was going to be counted out. He was not. Instead, it was a disqualification for Ken Patera, the world's strongest man, and the winner is Dusty Rhodes. We'll be back with you in a minute, right after we have this word from the studio. Well, Boyd Pierce is ready to introduce this event. We'll swing up there and we'll find out who's going to wrestle.
This event, 2 out of 3 falls, a 45-minute time limit. In the white corner, this is Blackie Red, the quarterback from Mexico City, Blackie Gordman. And it comes to the 2 out of 245 pounds, the winner of the recent international championship in Japan for World Junior Heavyweight, defending the World Heavyweight Championship, Chavo Guerrero. This is a non-title match.
Well, Black Gordman is arguing with the referee, and I was just looking at him closely and trying to determine what his point was. He wants the Chavo Guerrero to put up the junior heavyweight belt, which he won in a tournament in Japan, and he now is a solid and legitimate claimant to the title of world's junior heavyweight champion. And Gordman wants him to put up the belt, but this is a non-title match. Gordman knew it when he signed for the match. Chavo knew it, and Chavo, of course, is willing to meet any legitimate claimant to his title, or challenger to his title, too. So this one is 2 out of 3 falls, and it should be quite a battle. Chavo is one of the brightest young men in the wrestling game, and he comes from wrestling stock. His father, Guerrero, one of my dear friends and a man whom I respect very greatly for his wrestling ability and for his fine qualities as a human being, brought his son up right. Chavo Guerrero is everything his father would like to have been. His father was the Texas heavyweight champion at one time and earned the accolades of the fans and the experts alike. So it's Chavo Guerrero, head scissor, pulling the head of Blackie Gordman along the canvas, trying to scrape the skin off his nose if he can, and Gordman managed to get his head out by using his body as a lever, and as he fell down, he fell back to the canvas. He landed on the legs of Chavo Guerrero. He's got his arms wrapped underneath Chavo's legs, but his head just popped out. Now it's popping back in, almost like a cork. And the notice where he's leaning, right on the shin bone. Gordman is a man who knows the difference between just applying a hold and applying it properly. Gordman's tough. He's a rugged individual. He can outshout and out-rough an awful lot of people. Full Nelson is the grip as the chin of Chavo comes down close to his chest. There's a quick switch. He ducked out and broke the hold and then used the go-behind to come up with exactly the same grip. And Chavo used his skill, and there's a foot placed in the right place. Nice move by Chavo. He rolled up to his feet and was in a ready position in a hurry. We saw that Japanese arm lock and the manner in which it was used. Nick Kozak suspects, no, I guess he saw it because he's breaking it. And usually one criteria that is used by all referees is that they have to see what's happened. Then they call it. Because that clique of fans who claim that referees can't see anything. And sometimes they seem to be right, but not always. There is a leg breaker for sure. Chavo Guerrero with a hold that he learned from his father. You can bet your boots on that. Well applied. But the weak spot in this hold is that if you fall wrong, you're going to hurt your own leg. And so Chavo recognized it. There is a well applied maneuver. He jerks that leg, holds one steady. It works right smack up into the hip. A determined Chicano, Chavo Guerrero. Chavo is a master at finding the right place to apply the pressure. He also knows when to lay off. He did it then. Back heel trip, and he took Chavo down solidly. There's the one that gives you the Charlie horse, when you land with that knee on the soft part of the leg. Give Blackie Gordman points. He has all of his weight down just above the ankle of Chavo Guerrero, and he's pulling up on the foot. Here he comes again to reinforce that. Say, look at the way that leg is bent, the foot rather. Hard to take. Chavo, with all the flexibility of youth, manages to take it and still be in a position to bounce back.
5 minutes.
5 minutes have gone by. This is the first fall of a 2 out of 3 fall match. And Blackie Gordman comes in to slam him into the turnbuckle. And Gordman's reply to referee Nick Kozak was, it's open, it's open. Whether it was open or not is open to argument. But Chavo Guerrero, as he catches the blows, there's that swing and that wallop right smack between the eyes, and hard to take. He's chopping down on that hand. And Chavo Guerrero was run that time into the rope. And remember that these ropes, as we call them, are steel cables covered with rubber. He drove his hand so that he had the fingers spread apart and had the rope run up between the fingers. That's Gordman uncorking. Gordman doing the belting. And now Chavo fighting from his knees. How do you fight a man who rips you across the eyes? And there was a quick change of mind. Chavo Guerrero, instead of taking the chance that he felt he was taking, decided he would get further if he reversed his direction. Now, well, good grief. Now, I've seen a lot of people come off the corner. This is the first guy I've seen come off the middle of the rope. He jumped up on that rope.
First ball, 7 minutes, 4 seconds, Chavo Guerrero.
He used the bouncing effect of the rope. He used the pull on the top rope to go through the air and to hit his target. And his target was Blackie Gordman. So Gordman now has lost the first fall of this battle with Chavo Guerrero here in the Sam Houston Coliseum in Houston, Texas.
2, 1, the bell.
And the bell sounds now for fall number 2. Chavo Guerrero is 1 fall ahead. Blackie Gordman has been making some suspicious moves in the 2-minute intermission period that takes place between falls here in Texas wrestling. And now uncorking is Chavo Guerrero, and he comes around, you will note, with forearm blows, not with blows with the fist. There again, part of the things that he learned from his father, the ability to throw that legal wrestling wallop or the wallop with a fist, whichever you happen to use at the moment. And he caught him a beauty. So Gordman now wants to change the attitude, and well, I missed exactly what he did that time, and I am not certain, but he had something. Yes, I was going to say, it looked to me like he had something like a wire, a string, or a hunk of rope in his hand, and it is part of what he is wearing around his wrist. He has black tape, and this is perfectly legal to support the wrist. A lot of men do it. As a matter of fact, Chavo Guerrero has it on his wrist, except he's using either a white, not sweatband, he's using adhesive tape as a support for his wrists. But he's got a garrote around his neck, and Chavo Guerrero's in trouble. The crowd is screaming here to referee Nick Kozak, trying to tell him that what should happen is that this hold should be broken, and there you saw the move by Blackie Gordman. But the referee was over to the side and could not have picked it up as easily as we were able to see it from our position. And the crowd here is just a mass of assistant referees as they try to tell the Nick Kozak what has happened. You notice the way he came out there with that thing, held it in two hands that time and drove it forward at the throat of Chavo Guerrero. Front headlock, and that bulldogging headlock, and now Gordman gets up there and screams something at the fans in Spanish. I don't know the words, but the tone was absolutely apparent. He was telling them that that was Black Gordman's way of finishing Chavo Guerrero. Top man is Gordman. We've got a fall right now. Blackie Gordman.
He went in the second fall, 3 minutes, 11 seconds, Black Gordman.
Legally or illegally, he managed to chalk up enough punishment to put Chavo Guerrero on the canvas and to score the equalizing fall. Chavo is still down. He will have 2 minutes to recover. Blackie Gordman has been posturing in front of this crowd, proclaiming that he is the man, should have the belt. He has been making moves that have brought a censure from referee Nick Kozak, and you just saw as he, for the first time during this intermission period, laid a hand on Chavo Guerrero.
30 seconds.
Again, Blackie Gordman has aroused the fans with whatever he was doing. He has taken the tape off of one wrist. I don't know whether there was any on at the end of the second fall. I'm not quite certain. But at any rate, time is running out in the intermission.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, the bell.
And there comes Gordman to pound out the chorus with that foot in the belly. And he's got Guerrero literally hanging on the ropes. There's that isn't a simple back heel and trip. He took Chavo down to the canvas with his own body and drove him into the canvas. And that's a solid fall in anybody's language. Here he is again. There, you notice how Gordman fell with him and came right down on top, but he's got to hold him. There's Gordman again. The tape that he had around his right wrist has now become a weapon. It has disappeared from his left wrist, but now from the right wrist too. So Gordman here is quickly moving things from one side to another, and Nick Kozak has discovered where the object was. The advantage to Gordman has disappeared, and Guerrero is trying to bust him open. Whoa! He swung around there and came up there with a hard, solid wallop. Chavo now in a position to pound down on his opponent, and he's making the most of it. Chavo going for the monkey flip, and when he uses that monkey flip, he throws a man up in the air. Whoop! Over the top rope. We're going to have a disqualification. Blackie Gordman blocked.
Over the top rope disqualification, 2 minutes, 15 seconds of the third fall. The winner, Chavo Guerrero.
Chavo went up in the air that time for a monkey flip and found himself boosted over Gordman's head, over the top rope, and down onto the hard floor here at the Coliseum. And the winner of this match on a disqualification is Chavo Guerrero. And Guerrero gets in there a little bit upset. He has just won the match, but he doesn't like to win that way. You can bet your boots. And the quick exchange here between this pair is not going to change the outcome of the match, but it could. So Chavo threatened to jump and didn't, and Gordman decided that getting out of there was the better part of valor. So the winner on a disqualification, as Nick Kozak raises his hand, is Chavo Guerrero. Up in the ring, we've got the makings of a lot of action and something which you have never seen before. Let's let Boyd Pierce tell you about it.
This event, no limit to the number of falls. A Texas death match rules mean no disqualification, must be a winner. There will be a 30-second rest period between falls, and then the count of 10. Match continues until one man cannot answer the bell, and the loser will leave the ring in the coffin. Your contestant, on my right, from Austin, Texas, at 265 pounds, the American Dream, living stardust, Dusty Rhodes. Across the ring, 245 pounds, Mr. Russia, Ivan Koloff.
So Ivan, well, let's listen to Boyd again and see what happens. No, there is
I want it in the ring. I want the coffin inside the ring. I want it in the ring.
Boyd Pierce has Dusty Rhodes has just announced over Boyd Pierce's microphone that he wants the coffin in the middle of the ring. Ivan Koloff is saying he wants it out. Somebody's going to get a ride in the coffin, and it's going to stay in the ring. Here is the bell for the start of fall number 1. Now this match could last 1 fall or it could last 20 falls, but one thing is certain, that somebody is going to win this match.
Referee says if a man is put in the coffin completely, the match is over.
What is going to happen here right now is that the coffin is going to be placed in the middle of the ring. One of the objects is to put a man into that coffin, and he will, when he can't wrestle anymore, and he's going to be carried out of the ring. That's Ivan Koloff, the rugged Russian bear, and the all-American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, as he blasts away at the Russian's obvious target. And Dusty is now just doing a war dance around the ring and around the coffin. The coffin's a focal point here. The Russian said he was going to bury all American wrestlers. And Dusty Rhodes says he ain't gonna bury me. And as a matter of fact, it was his idea to have that coffin as part of the match and to have a Texas death match in which a man would really go into a coffin. Texas death matches continue until one man is unable to continue. Koloff is a tough customer. And notice them assiduously avoiding contact with that box up in the ring. It could be something that could cause an injury, having it up there, but then the guy takes a chance in a Texas death match, no matter how things are. Dusty Rhodes, colorful as they come, and here he is taking punishment from a man who never considers himself colorful, just totally red. He carried a red shovel into the ring here for months. And as this match takes place, Dusty Rhodes is out to end his claim that he is going to bury anybody, particularly an American wrestler. So the pine box, complete with all the trimmings on the inside, awaits either Ivan or Dusty. Stick with us. Dusty trying his best now to entice Ivan over to struggle over the coffin. Those are hard boots. That's tough punishment to take. Dusty starting to wilt. Here is Ivan to drop in there and to cause Dusty problems. Again, the Russian with the Russian Sputnik dive off the ropes, and a crotch hold, a lift, a slam, and Ivan Koloff goes for the pin, but he didn't get it. Here he is. There is a quick wrap up, and Dusty Rhodes has the shoulders of Ivan Koloff pinned to the canvas.
Winner of the ball, 4 minutes, 10 seconds, Dusty Rhodes.
So Dusty Rhodes takes the first fall of this battle, and
15 seconds.
the short intermission period between falls as Dusty Rhodes
5,
just
4,
stares
3,
at
2, 1, the bell.
Ivan Koloff, and the bell sounds. Now remember, the number of falls is not what wins this match. To win this match, oh, now we've got a cheer going on, and the cheer is USA. You hear that? USA, 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 USA. And the Russian has a low boiling point. And Dusty has reached it, and he's got him totally irritated. And this, of course, is part of the strategy of Dusty Rhodes in this battle here at the Sam Houston Coliseum in Houston, Texas. Dusty tends to stay a little closer to that coffin than the Russian does. The Russian very upset as he agreed to this match, if agreed is the term. But now, as he tries to blast Dusty, he missed his target. Dusty fights back in magnificent fashion. Here he is setting up of Koloff, but he set him up, and look what Koloff did. Blasted him right smack Draw now. Falls are even. Each
1
man has
minute,
a fall.
36 seconds. The winner of the second fall, Ivan Koloff.
The second fall goes to Ivan Koloff. All right, the intermission period is
5,
still in effect,
4,
and here is
3,
the count.
2, 1.
Here the USA chant is coming up. Dusty Rhodes getting the backing of the fans all the way. USA, USA. They are screaming, they are hollering. They are convinced that the man who is going to win this match has to be Dusty Rhodes. Dusty doing the crowding and Ivan Koloff lowering the boom, Russian style. That wild foot of his covers a lot of territory. And we've got the Russian on the concrete, Dusty Rhodes after him, and Dusty Rhodes trying to introduce him to a chair at the ringside and to blast him if he can outside the ring to make it more difficult for him to get back. And he belted him. He brought it down and he chomped away at it. So the chair has done its work. Dusty is still out there, but so is the Russian. And Dusty is trying to make it unprofitable for the Russian to either stay out there or to come back. And the Russian has been hit on the head with a chair and he is bleeding from the contact. And as Dusty gets closer to that coffin, the fans are screaming for him to get the Russian up in the coffin. Dusty Rhodes has met the fury of Ivan Koloff, who, blood running all over his face, now has divested himself of one boot and is using that boot to try to belt Dusty Rhodes into defeat. He's gotten a few good licks in, and now he's getting the boot back on. I think he's got an effective way of using it when he has it on his foot. So, Ivan Koloff with a chair, and this time blasting Dusty Rhodes in the manner that Dusty handed it to him just a short time ago. Dusty bleeding from the effects of the chair, bleeding badly, bleeding worse than the Russian, and the Russian is trying to put him in the coffin. He is likely to succeed. He's got a better chance than he had just a while ago, and the pushing and the shoving by Ivan Koloff is met with roars for Dusty Rhodes, trying to encourage Dusty to battle on. And both of them now bleeding badly as Dusty starts a barrage of left hands, looks for a place to land with that elbow if he possibly can. Crotch hold, slam. Dusty Rhodes tried to splatter him down to the canvas, and here is perhaps I thought it might be a fall for the Russian. He was sure trying to score it. So rabbit punch, and that's a good way to kill a rabbit. The effort by Dusty Rhodes could gain him the third fall. He did. Dusty Rhodes gets the third fall. But that is not.
The winner of the fall, 3 minutes, 49 seconds, Dusty Rhodes.
And Dusty Rhodes has won the third fall, but he's continuing to wrestle, trying to push the Russian into the waiting
15
coffin.
seconds. 10.
So seconds are being ticked off.
5,
Dusty
4,
looking
3, 2,
balefully across that bloody vision of his at the man who caused it. And as the American dream starts to come in there to come in contact with the Russian, he catches a barrage. Somebody would like to be the first man to be able to put him in that coffin, put his opponent in that coffin. Dusty is trying, but so far he has maybe the best effort to this point. He is straining, trying to push, trying to do something about it. And with one foot literally in the grave, Ivan Koloff was able to come out, and he lays it to Dusty Rhodes, and the All-American Dream is catching it in his bloody head right now. The crotch hold, but he can't lift that leg. Dusty's fighting. Dusty doesn't want to be put in that coffin, and he's not going to be put in that coffin. He has managed now to fight his way out, and with Koloff bleeding badly up in that ring, he's gone for a fall. He's got a fall. Now that is the fourth fall. Now we still
The winner of the fourth fall, 1 minute 30 seconds, Ivan Koloff.
So stay right with us, and we'll be back here in a moment.
15
So the
seconds.
15 seconds still remaining in this intermission period. We're able to hold it up due to the miracle of
5,
videotape.
4, 3, 2, 1, the bell.
Fall number 5. Now remember, this could take any number of falls, but all of these things take something out of a man. So there is a limit to what people can take. And Ivan Koloff is banging Dusty's head up against one of the handles on this coffin, and Koloff is trying his best now to get the American Dream up in that box. He has not yet been able to complete. Oh, this is bad for Dusty, but Dusty came around with a right arm and clobbered the Russian alongside the head. A lot of give and take. Russian is tough. Dusty is tough. It's a tough match. Give and take, and Dusty just caught it. Whoa! He almost fell back into the box that time, and if he had, it would have been the end. The Russian trying to leap on Dusty Rhodes, and he landed with his leg on the box, and the Russian is in the box. Absolutely crazy as Dusty Rhodes scores the win over Ivan Koloff, and now comes the part that will be best of all. Ivan Koloff will be carried to the dressing room in the coffin in which he now rests.